This is Ray Cipriano out of Fort Worth, Texas, the home of the late, great Ben Hogan. I play out of Rockwood Golf Course in Fort Worth. This is Golf Smarter, number 967.
On Sportsbox, you're able to pull the ball data and the club data from Foresight devices directly into our app. So you can see everything we measure on Sportsbox alongside the outcome data. But what Bryson specifically, Dana Dahlquist, his coach, has been using Sportsbox for a couple years now. Bryson and Dana were like, we need to use this to figure this out for Bryson. So what we did was we collected hundreds of his golf swings the week before the US Open, by the way. And we were able to see what in his motion correlated highly with a spin axis going positive, because that's a fade shot. And we used our sports science team and our data scientists, got to work on the data set and figured out that there were three things that are really highly correlated, with 70% plus correlated with the push fade shot. And so through data, not how it looks or not someone's opinion, we were able to tell Bryson, when you do this versus this, you push fade it. He acted on this information at Pinehurst the week of the US Open this year. And Dana and our team, we were there with Bryson, measuring every swing to see if he can hit the ideal ranges on Sportsbox on the range. And he got his swing to a place where it felt perfect. Like, wow, this feels like when I shot 58, this is how free my swing felt. And now I can do this. And he went out and won the US Open. That's how the game should be played. Like, we shouldn't go on a search. We should let the data tell us what happens when we miss it versus hit it great.
The impact AI is already having on revolutionizing golf training with entrepreneur Jeehae Lee.
This is Golf Smarter, sharing stories, tips, and insights from great golf minds to help you lower your score and raise your golf IQ. Here's your host, Fred Green.
Welcome to the Golf Smarter podcast, Jeehae.
Thanks for having me, Fred. Excited to get this conversation going.
I'm excited to hear about what you're doing, because if Time Magazine is going to come up with the person of the year in 2024, it's probably going to be AI.
Absolutely.
And usually with technology, golf lags behind a couple years at least, right? And here you are bringing AI into golf in a way that benefits almost everybody, if not everybody.
Absolutely.
So explain to me what it is that Sportsbox AI is and does for all of us.
Yeah, so there's never been an easy way for me to explain this. We've been
That's
using
why we've
AI.
got 45 minutes.
I know. But in the shortest possible way, what we do is make measuring the golf swing, the movement in the golf swing possible through just your mobile phone. Pointing and shooting the camera that's installed in your phone to be able to get full, accurate 3D motion data on everything that's happening in your swing, which is, by the way, an extremely complicated thing to do with your body, which is why golf is so infuriatingly difficult. And we're hoping that we can make that process a little bit easier by giving people a tool that makes it easy to measure and quantify what's going on.
And is this for coaches or is this for golfers?
It's for coaches. It's for club fitters. It's for average golfers who may or may not work with a coach to practice with. We're not a quote unquote AI coach. We're not here to displace any golf professionals out there. We're simply making it possible for coaches and golfers to learn and teach in a better way.
How?
Well, I mentioned the measurement piece, and the reason why we think that's so valuable is because in anything in life, if you want to improve, you have to start by measuring. So if you want to improve your fitness, well, what do you want to improve? Do you want to lose weight in pounds? Do you want to gain muscle? Do you want to change your body composition? What do you need to do first? You have to know exactly where you are and where you want to go.
It's all about the metrics, right?
Yeah, if you're not measuring it, then you're just dreaming. You're just hoping, right? I want to lose weight. I want to look better. but you're not actually putting it into action without any measurement. So same thing. And in golf, we started with where the ball is going, right? We started measuring that about 20 plus years ago with the advent of launch monitors. We're now able to measure, hey, do you want to hit it higher? Well, how high do you hit it now? How much higher do you want to hit it? Well, that looks spinny, too spinny. Well, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Like you need to be able to measure where you are and where you want to go in order for you to actually make progress on it. Why are we not applying the same logic to the most important piece of the equation, which is your swing, how you move in the swing, right? Let's start measuring it so that we're not just describing what we're seeing with our own eyes, which is subjective, by the way, like what I see and how I would describe something that's happening might be completely different from how you see it, right? What looks like not enough turn, quote unquote, maybe look like a lot of turn for you or feel like a lot of turn for you, right? So let's get on the exact same page about what's going on. And that's the only way to do that is through measurements like inches and degrees and not through descriptions.
I've talked to so many amateur golfers who struggle with getting a lesson and understanding the communication between the teacher and the student on what exactly the teacher is trying to explain. They'll take video of you, they'll put you up against Brooks Koepka or Bryson DeChambeau or Tiger Woods, and they'll put you side by side and they'll draw lines and say, here's what he's doing, now this is what you should be doing. And I my own experience and from people I talk to, they walk away from that going, I'm not sure what he was talking about. I think I get it, but I don't know what I need to do with that.
Yeah.
Does Sportsbox AI bridge that gap or widen it?
We absolutely, like our number one value to coaches and golfers is that we are bridging that communication gap. Because like I said before, if you're talking about it in terms of theories and descriptions, it's in the eye of the beholder. But if you're saying, you're at 80 degrees and I want you to get to 90 degrees, there's no other way to interpret that. Two people looking at that information is going to get the exact same thing out of it versus I want you to turn more is going to leave a lot of things up to interpretation. So that is one of the biggest values that we provide for coaches and how they teach and in students and how they, how they learn.
So you're saying that for the student, for the golfer, this is easy to comprehend what we're looking at or easier?
Yeah, absolutely. And especially for golfers who may be new to some of the jargon that exists. Like we just throw around like casually, oh, that's reverse pivot and like that's side bending to like create too much torque and all this like language that really doesn't say anything to somebody who's not familiar. Right. And so let's talk about it in terminology that is universally understandable. That's one of the biggest things that we care about.
I completely understand that because when I started doing this podcast back in 2005, and I was somewhat new to golf, I'd only been playing a couple of years, there would be times I'd be doing interviews with people and I'd be going, wait, what does that mean? I'm not sure. Now, I kind of feel guilty in some ways because after doing this for almost completing 19 years, I get some of the jargon now. I understand what they're saying, but I feel like I'm possibly leaving people out of the conversation.
Yeah, exactly. I've had the pleasure of teaching my own husband from scratch, 5 years ago. And now he's a 10 handicap. He's come a long way. And I'm at that stage in my life where my friends around me are at that age where they're like, well, tell me this golf thing. Tell me more. How do I get into it? And so I go through this experience with brand new golfers pretty regularly. And when I try to throw around terminology that, I'm now used to, it goes nowhere. It really does. And so you have to distill it to the things that are universally understandable. So I think I feel your pain. I've seen it happen multiple times with my friends and my family. So.
Yeah. So again, let's break down what Sportsbox AI does, where it lives, who uses it, and how. Starting with, again, the user, the golfer, on their phone. What happens?
A golfer can download the Sportsbox app. We are live on Android and iOS. And
is there a fee for the app?
There is, but there's a free experience. If you want to try a few of our features out, see if it's helpful to you, then you can try pretty much everything on the free app. And if you go beyond a certain number of swings, we'll have you convert to a subscription at $15.99 a month or $110 a year for the average consumer. So, a bucket of balls will get you access to the highest quality motion data you could possibly get in the game on just your phone. And so, and we recommend that you use a tripod that can keep the phone still in front of you, positioned the correct way. Of course, if you have a friend who can take the videos for you, that works as well. And if you take a swing for the first time, we'll give you a few things that are out of range of what we typically see in really good golfers. So such as if you are not turning more than, this 80-degree number, you're at 70, that's something we'll flag and say, like, think about getting this to 85 or 90. So that you'll go through that process and you can turn that into a goal that you work towards. So going from assessment to a practice flow within the app so that you can, set a range that you want to work towards with a specific movement pattern. And, we'll get you into this flow where you can take swings and get immediate feedback on whether you've hit 80, 85, 82, 90 with every single swing you make.
You had just mentioned a moment ago about setting goals and that the app helps you to do that. And I went through your website pretty thoroughly, saw some video of people, of a professional LPGA player who talked about her specific goals. What are the goals that you can set and how can Sportsbox AI help you achieve those?
Yeah, what we really believe in is that there is no one swing for all, which is why we developed a product that allows you to customize the goals that you want to work towards. So in that video, you saw Marina Alex, who's an LPGA Tour winner, player. We'd like to call her veteran now. And she doesn't like that, but she's a veteran on tour. And for her, turning more isn't the issue. She tends to overturn, and that gets her into trouble where she gets a little stuck. So her goal is getting her chest turned to a certain threshold that doesn't go above that. For most amateur golfers, they have the opposite problem. They don't get enough turn. So they're probably, somewhere in this like 70 to 80 range, and they might want to go into a higher range. So we're not here to say this is exactly how you should swing. These are the goals you should work on. Here are some suggestions, but at the end of the day, we built the product for you to explore what makes you swing your best, what makes you hit it the best, figure it out, know your numbers, and make it easier for you to go back to that good swing when you're struggling. And I mentioned the reason why I started this company. I was a professional golfer myself, played on the LPGA Tour. And I've obviously grown up playing the game, taking thousands of hours of lessons. And what really ultimately drove me crazy and drove me to quit the game was
we'll get to your history and now you've really teased it up.
Yeah, I would hit it great for a period of time. And then I would go through these like little cycles where I'm like, wait, that doesn't feel the same. I'm hitting it funny. I'm peeling it off to the right. Yeah. What am I doing? And you don't always have access to your coach, right? When you're on the road playing, you just have to play. You have to make it work. And so I would start doubting myself. I would start tinkering. And then I would go through a 3-month dip where I'm just searching and I'm not able to hit it the way that I was doing. And that should sound familiar to everyone listening, right?
Oh, yeah.
you hit it great, and on the range, you get to the course, you hit it crappy, and you have no idea why and what is different in your swing when you hit it great versus not. We want to shorten the cycle of your search by giving you a tool that allows you to know exactly what your numbers are, what makes you operate at your optimal range, and help you get back to when, like, instead of a search, go look at your swing data. Does it match up with when you were hitting it great? And so while that might sound like a really, overwhelming process, it's not. If you're going to go through much longer cycles of searching and going through bad golf, if you don't have a way to get back to like the ones that the swings that work for you.
You had mentioned that, the turn that didn't go all the way that they thought, or she was overturning. Are you talking about shoulders or hips or?
For her, it was the trunk rotation, so
Okay.
chest rotation.
Okay. So what I understand that it does is it just takes one video and then converts it to a 3D model from all different angles. I mean, this is obviously utilizing AI to the fullest in a way that has not been done before, I'm guessing.
Exactly. And we've been doing this for, we've had a product out there for 3 years now.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Pioneering this field of single camera to detailed 3D. And our 3D includes the ability to see an avatar representation of your swing from all different angles, including, 360 rotation, but also from as if you were to hang a camera from above you to see kind of top down, or if you were standing on a plane of glass and you're able to see what's going on from below. And so you really get this full picture of what's going on in the swing. Like, what does your swing look like from up here? Like that separation of the trunk and hips, like what does that look like from top down? It looks very different from there versus a face-on angle or a down-the-line angle. Where is your hand position relative to your shoulders? Again, that top-down view gives you this incredible visualization to know exactly what's happening to the different body parts.
And you take your video from, you can either do it down the line or face-on, or you specifically need to do it from face-on?
Face-on or down the line. We give you slightly different data sets if you took video from here to here. But you can get 3D from both.
And it's not creating this random generic animation. It's actually creating your swing. It's you, but in a 3D rendering and without your face and just, and has all those.
Exactly.
I'm trying to comprehend all this. This is really amazing. Yeah. But it's really hard to get without, seeing it in action, I guess.
Yeah, it's hard to describe over a podcast. So I suggest everybody download Sportsbox to see what it looks like.
Yeah, right.
But yes, it takes, it's still, like when I describe it to people, it still sounds like black magic. How do you do it? I'm like, well, it's magic. But actually it's pretty advanced AI that we had to develop and train AI models to know exactly where those body points are in 3D. To be able to do that accurate representation in a 3D avatar. We had to invent a lot of things along the way to make that work.
And is that what's happened? This is something that no one had done before. What prompted you to go, I got this. I know what we can do here.
Well, I can't take credit for the technology. I have an amazing technology and AI team led by our CTO, Sam Menaker. And we also have a team of sports science experts led by Dr. Phil Cheatham, who's spent his entire career in 3D biomechanics, 3D motion capture. He even built his own 3D motion capture system. So we've got this kind of, I call it the three legs of the stool. We've got AI technology team that's world-class. We've got a sports science and biomechanics team that's world-class. We've got a world-class team of golf business and golf subject matter experts represented, by yours truly, but also our amazing group of advisors and golf coach ambassadors that are constantly providing feedback on how to make our product better.
Wow. So you said you played LPGA, but then you got an advanced degree. So you have a business sense, business mind. I can't imagine that this is your first venture into doing something unique in the golf industry since you've gotten your degree. What is your history on how you got to here?
Yeah, so I've taken a little bit of a zigzag path to where I am, and I'm sure it'll continue to zigzag a little bit more. But I grew up playing golf, went to Yale for undergrad, played golf there briefly, and then played professionally between 2007 all the way through 2011. And 09, 10, 11 were my years on the LPGA Tour. So I was incredibly lucky to have played at that level. And then afterwards, I represented my good friend Michelle Lee West at IMG, her agency, before going to business school. And after business school, got great training on the kind of the business side of things, skills that I needed to develop. I joined Topgolf, which at the time in 2015 was going through this incredible transformation as a brand and a company. And I got to see and have a part in them building out Top Tracer through an acquisition of Pro Tracer.
Oh, there's the connection.
Yeah. So I got to see, how technology could really transform. I mean, Topgolf in itself was doing this, but technology could truly transform the way people interact with the game, how they get introduced to the game, and how it can help golfers develop. So it was a great experience there. And in 2020, I started Sportsbox with Sam.
Okay. Well, Topgolf definitely had an impact on getting more people interested in playing the game, whether they played or not, or just went to the bar and, had fun at Topgolf. But then with Top Tracer, I think that Top Tracer really changed golf on television more than anything. Besides
Absolutely.
the fact that now you can go to your local driving range that may have Top Tracer technology set up, which is just wonderful to have there. It's like having your own, what's the word I'm looking for? But here,
Launch monitor, yeah.
Your own launch monitor. Thank you. Your own launch monitor right there. But being able to watch a ball in flight and seeing what it does, Top Tracer technology on golf television is mind blowing.
Absolutely.
And really has made a big change in the way we view the game.
Yeah. And even, the way that we talk about ball flights now, I mean, 5-10 years ago, if you were to ask what's Rory McIlroy's ball speed, nobody would be able to tell you what the number was. And so just the level of familiarity with the data would not be there without Top Tracer. And we're doing something similar. We're getting integrated into golf broadcast, where the analysts are talking about the golf swing with Sportsbox data layered on top of it, showing people what the avatar looks like. And we are seeing that people are more and more curious about motion data for their own swing after watching a pro swing being analyzed. So we're very bullish on motion data being kind of the next big frontier for the way that people consume golf content.
Did I just get the sense that there's a possibility that we can be watching golf on television and automatically the analysts and the announcers are going to be able to pull up Sportsbox AI and see a breakdown of the swing in a 3D rendering?
Absolutely. And if you're in a region where Sky Sports is available to you, they're already doing that. They've been doing it all of this year.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
So they're licensing it from you.
Exactly.
And oh my God, that would be huge to get it here in the States as well.
Yeah. And
Sky Sports is in the UK, isn't it?
Exactly. They're the ESPN of UK, Europe, Middle East. Yeah. And on the state side, if you're watching any of the Golf Channel's instructional shows, such as The Golf Fix by Devin Bonebreak, who is one of our ambassadors, every episode features an analysis on Sportsbox, where they break down fully, what is going on in a pro swing as an example of a move that they want to teach the audience.
Wow. Okay. So you talked about Devin Bonebreak, who I've tried to get on the show before. We had an email exchange and then my emails disappeared from him. So I'm going to continue to try to get him back on the show, get him on the show first time, because I'd love to talk to him. But let's drop some other names here as I look through your list of people on your website that are utilizing Sportsbox.ai or the app Sportsbox AI. I see names like Terry Rolls, Mike Adams, Vision 54, David Ledbetter, Bryson DeChambeau. How are people like Bryson utilizing what you're doing? And how did he get involved?
So before we launched, we barely had a prototype. We were able to show what we had to David Ledbetter and Sean Foley, and immediately they wanted to invest their own dollars into the company.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. And we have Michelle Lee West, Mel Reed, Patty Tavatanakid, and Marina Alex, who are also investors who put in their own money into Sportsbox because they believed that this was that important for the game of golf and they wanted to be a part of it. So that's one part of it. But with Bryson specifically, Dana Dahlquist, his coach, has been using Sportsbox for a couple of years now. And he one of the things that the two of them wanted to solve for was Bryson likes to hit his stock draws, and occasionally he would battle his kind of push fades, which he does not like. And they've been trying to figure out what in Bryson's swing causes those push fades. And so when we announced our product integration with Foresight Sports, where on Sportsbox you're able to pull the ball data and the club data from Foresight devices directly into our app, so you can see everything we measure on Sportsbox alongside the outcome data. Bryson and Dana were like, we need to use this to figure this out for Bryson. So what we did was we collected hundreds of his golf swings the week before the US Open, by the way. And we were able to see what in his motion correlated highly with a spin axis going positive, because that's a, fade shot.
Okay.
And we used our sports science team and our data scientists got to work on the data set and figured out that there were three things that are really highly correlated, with like 70% plus correlated with the push fade shot. And so through data, not, how it looks or not, someone's opinion, we were able to tell Bryson, this is exactly why when you do this versus this, you push fade it. And he acted on this information at Pinehurst the week of the US Open this year. And we were, Dana and our team, we were there with Bryson measuring every swing to see if he can hit the ideal ranges on Sportsbox on the range. And he got his swing to a place where it felt perfect. Like literally he was like, wow, this feels like when I shot 58, this is how free my swing felt. And now I can do this. And he went out and won the US Open. So that's how we use it with Bryson. And it was a lot of work. There were a whole bunch of the team who was dedicated to pouring through all of his data. But that's how the game should be played. Like we shouldn't go on a search. We should let the data tell us what happens when we miss it versus hit it great.
And he used it for a couple of days and then went out and won the US Open because of the data that you fed him.
I mean, we would never take credit for Bryson winning the US Open.
Of course, he had to hit the ball, but he's a science geek. He loves this stuff, right? And I know that there's people like, oh, I can't pay attention to him because I'm live. Okay, fine. So he's on live. Yeah, we got to move beyond that if we possibly can, please. But anyway, he won, and he was adorable afterwards, and kind of made me fall in love with them even more. Um, but this is the kind of data that anybody can take and use, especially if they have a coach.
Exactly.
But they can do it without a coach too, right?
I mean, yes, but
Yes, but
what Dana was able to do, I mean, we were part of Dana's team, just as much as we were part of Bryson's team. We were helping Dana communicate the things that he already wanted Bryson to do, but backed with data, he was able to get through to Bryson better than without data. So like, it's what we showed Dana. There were some things that he hadn't thought about in certain ways, but they were just part of what he wanted Bryson to already do. It helped him communicate those things and turn it into data that like actually made it precise what he wanted Bryson to do. And a coach can also turn, okay, I want you to move like this and not that. This is the data. But a coach can turn that into, okay, try this feel, try this drill, try this. And like that process of iterating on the input that allows the golfer to move in the correct way is an incredible part of the process, like important part of the process that only a coach can do, right? Our data can give you the information, create the ideal ranges, but at the end of the day, a player or coach needs to decide how they want to take that information and turn it into something they action on.
What about other professional golfers who've had success with it, that have experienced it and learned from it?
Yeah, I mean, Sportsbox is now at a point, and I can't believe I'm saying this, there are enough, like there's so many users at various different skill levels where we're not personally tracking like who's using it and who's not using it. It's not something that we would go out and, market, right? Like we're not going to go out and without the correct rights, we'd be able to like market that relationship. But there are a lot of places. If you go to a tour event, whether it's Live or PGA Tour, there are a lot of coaches and players that are using this on a regular basis. One more ambassador of ours, Jeff Smith, who is one of the smartest people I've ever met. He has a large group of tour players on the PGA Tour he's using Sportsbox in every lesson, and he has Sportsbox built into his teaching studio where his players come when they have a swing change they need to make. They get into this environment where every swing is measured on Sportsbox, and they're able to more quickly make the swing change because of the immediate feedback they're getting on every swing. So there's a webinar that he did recently where he talks about his players, Davis Riley and Max Grazerman, on exactly what they wanted to change and how they did it using the data. And it was really fascinating to listen to.
Does the app make suggestions as to what you can do to improve your movement and your swing, or do you really need a coach to understand what it's showing you?
Yeah, we do make recommendations. There are, top 12 most common swing faults that we see in amateur golf swings that we filter for, and it creates these recommended goals for you. But obviously, there's a lot more value that you can get out of it if you are able to customize those ranges that work better for you as a golfer. And that can come from maybe your own understanding. If you're a total golf geek and you've taken enough lessons and you've watched enough, educational content out there to know what those are. But we also provide, links to connect with one of the Sportsbox coaches if they want to go deeper and really personalize what they can get out of Sportsbox.
And you can do that remotely with a coach?
Absolutely. I think Sportsbox is, humbly, it has been one of the
Please, don't be humble.
most impactful tool for coaches who have a remote coaching service offered, because one, they're not dealing with there's a lot of bad videos out there that golfers send, from bad angles or shaking, whatever. And, they're having to go back and forth on, hey, can you send me another video, different video? Can you do this? There's a whole process that's a time suck. We don't process videos that don't fit our criteria. So when a coach gets a student to send a swing, they're only looking at good videos. Second, because we have data and goals that you can create, the student, you're not having to go and look at, a bunch of swing videos, comparing if it looks different from the original video, which is a whole time-consuming process. If you wanted them to turn to 90 degrees, we just show you the data. Right? Is it 90 degrees? Did they average 90 degrees in the last, 3 sessions that they've practiced? Or is it 85? Or are they trending in the right direction? You can see that immediately as soon as you open the student page. And so that there's been so much positive feedback from coaches that spend a lot of time with remote coaching. They've, 2x, 3x their monthly revenue from using Sportsbox because of this engagement.
Wow. And is it the type of thing, like a couple episodes ago, we talked to Keith Scioli about his Golf Live app, where you can have a teacher can give video lessons live while, with a person, as opposed to sending the video and then waiting to hear back. What does Sportsbox AI do? Is that something you need to send to the coach and then they'll get back to you, or is possibly do it live?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it will be live. It's just so let's say we're working together and you sent me a goal to work on. Every time I practice on Sportsbox against that goal, it creates a record. So, let's say I took 20 swings in my last practice against this goal. It shows you where every one of my swings they landed as it relates to my goal and an average. And every time I take a swing, you're notified in the app. And so you're able to just quickly check, okay.
You as the coach.
You as the coach.
Okay.
So the coach can quickly check that this person practiced. And, and as a coach, you also have this comfort of knowing that they are getting feedback on every swing. A huge part of value of working with a coach is that they're a set of eyes that give you immediate feedback on every swing. And so this is doing that without you logging into a Zoom session or whatever, without you physically being there to watch every swing. Sportsbox is providing that lens through which you can give feedback, give the student a pair of eyes to provide that feedback on every swing, and help them learn in that process.
So you kind of joked about, did you practice? Mm-hmm. Right. Which, I can't tell you how many times, and I'm sure you've heard it more than me, that people are like, yeah, I took a couple lessons, and it's not helping. It's like, did you practice?
Did you practice? Yeah.
I mean, like, are you just like, you take the lesson and then 2 weeks later you go play golf and you're like, well, my lesson didn't help. Well, did you do anything in between, right?
Yeah. And more importantly, did you practice correctly? Because personally, I believe the biggest thing that separates a good golfer versus a professional is in how if they get 30 minutes to spend on the range, how they would do it. An average golfer would go out and beat a bunch of balls and get nothing out of it. Or their quote unquote feedback is, did the ball go straight or whatever that is? Like, did the ball do what I wanted it to do? And we all know that you might have done that by accident. If you're trying to make a swing change, the shot may not go where you wanted it to go, but you still need to commit to the swing change for you to change. And so if your only feedback mechanism is where did the ball go, you're not making a swing change. I'm sorry. Like you're probably treading water because you're always going to try to go back to what feels comfortable that, accidentally hit a good shot. You hit a good shot from. So if you're not practicing with intent, with motion-based feedback, you're likely not going to make progress on the things that you learned in your lesson.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I think about being on the range and like, oh, you're just looking at the ball flight and how it felt when it, as you made contact, but you're not analyzing your swing. You're looking at the ball flight and what it felt like.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not enough information to improve.
Yeah. And like I said, if you are trying to make a swing change, then you need to have 100% of your focus on that during the part of your practice session where you are focused on mechanics, right? And no matter where the ball goes, you need to commit to that swing change and know that the reps that you're doing the correct movement. If you don't have feedback loop on whether you're making the correct motion, then you're practicing against the wrong thing in a way, right? Because if you are making a swing change, you're probably less likely to hit good shots with that new move than you would be with your old move. Like your old move, it's comfortable. You could probably be athletic enough to make a good shot with the old move more reliably than with the new move. Does that make sense? So
yeah,
you need to commit to working against your motion-based goals before you get to the outcome-oriented practice.
One of the other things I noticed on your website that I'm really curious about, what is Sportsbox University?
Yeah, so we have a wealth of knowledge and educational material built for the purpose of coaches to learn how to use our data. So Dr. Phil Cheatham led the effort to creating this university program for people to get certified. Level 1, 2 are available now, Sportsbox certified, to be able to more fluently teach with our data.
If you had not gotten an MBA, would you have been able to develop as much of not just, this idea for showing video as AI, but expanding it out to so many different ways and so many different licensing venues, opportunities? Did the MBA really help expand your mind to fill in the blanks?
I mean, first of all, I met my husband during my MBA, so I wouldn't trade that for the world. But I mean, everything that I have done in my crazy life, I feel like has prepared me for what I'm doing. I don't think what I'm doing, I'm sure I would have figured it out eventually. But I feel like the things that I've experienced from the playing career, going through Epson and Tour, the ups and downs, the relationships I've built, every lesson I've taken, the coaches I know, to like the hours and sitting in classrooms, building relationships with the people in at Wharton who are currently doing amazing things, learning from them, the professors I learned from. Every little thing I think has helped me prepare for what I'm doing now.
Well, it's an amazing journey, and luckily we get to take advantage of the results of it. And I'm really impressed, really excited to check this thing out, to see, because I think I'm feeling really good these days, and I'm actually kind of terrified to see what it looks like.
Well, don't worry about what it looks like. Measure it if you're feeling good, so you have it documented. And you can always go back to it, compare it if you're not feeling great at some point down the road. So.
Great point. Well, congratulations. I would wish you good luck, but you're so far along the way, and we'll be seeing more and more about this. And I'm sure that listeners, when they're watching TV, whether it's the Golf Channel or a live event, they're going to go, oh, yeah, I know about Sportsbox AI. I heard about it on Golf Smarter. Jeehae, thank you so much, and best of luck.
Thanks so much, Fred, for having me on.
Well, I had a really interesting round this week, but it wasn't about my game. I played with a gentleman probably in his late 40s, maybe early 50s, I guess. But as a teenager, he was a passenger in a car that lost control, rolled over multiple times, and threw him from the car. And for the next few weeks after that, he was left in a coma with little hope of survival. And yet, he did survive. But the doctors weren't sure about his quality of life going forward. Well, during his recovery, he had a stroke where he lost the use of the right side of most of his body and seriously impacted his speech and left him with a limp. But fortitude, attitude, gratitude, and hope are truly amazing things. And there he was, decades later, walking the golf course, pushing his cart, and playing golf with only his left hand. Except on the greens, where he was able to use his right hand to stabilize the putter. He was able to make solid contact on most of his shots and had an impressive touch in his short game. But most of all, he was out there, playing with this amazing attitude and not really caring about his score, although he did concede that he's always happy to break 100. He was truly an inspiration. So just the next time you're having a rough day on the golf course, remember how lucky you are to be playing at all. Now, later this week on Golf Smarter Mulligans is part 2 with Jeff Ritter from November of 2012, introducing us to his Make the Turn Challenge.
He's thinking, this is perfect. This couldn't be better. I missed my first 10. There's no way I can miss 11. Give me the ball. And that's what the mentally tough athlete thinks. They always want the ball. They always see the next shot as an opportunity, and they keep on shooting. And people in golf that are not mentally tough don't do that. They're defeated when they get to the course. They're defeated if they get 3 holes in and they started bogey, double bogey, it's all over. They don't think that way. The more we help people in this program understand that the whole goal in golf is to be able to walk up to your golf ball and see an opportunity to do something amazing. The highlight reel is virtually never from the tee box or the center of the fairway. The highlight reel is from impossible situations. Tough lines, no view of the pin. You got to hook it around, go over something. You made a long putt to save par. You were down, but you weren't out. You came back and you made 5 birdies to finish the round. I mean, that's the stuff that highlight reels are made of. So instead of hitting a ball somewhere that you don't like and saying, this sucks or now I'm screwed, why not say, this is perfect. This couldn't be better, because when I hook this ball around this tree and it bounces between those bunkers and it cozies up the cup, this crowd is going to lose their mind. And that's how a mentally tough athlete thinks.
This was originally episode 356 for members only, but was behind our paywall, so it's never been shared publicly before. So even for longtime listeners, chances are this is a brand new interview, so please check it out. And I want to thank this week's Golf Smarter ambassador, Ray Cipriano from Fort Worth, Texas, and as he said with pride, the home of the late, great Ben Hogan. Not only did Ray record his episode opening on his phone and send it to me, but he's the only Golf Smarter ambassador who had to record an opening for 2 different episodes because I screwed up. It was my clerical error. Thank you, Ray, for your cooperation. I'm glad to get you out there and brag about Fort Worth. Now, starting this month through the beginning of next year, you have multiple ways to become a Golf Smarter ambassador. As Ray did, you can record a show opening and choose from one of our 3 great gifts, or if you'd like to get all 3 gifts at once, then write a review for Golf Smarter on any podcast app you're listening to right now. I haven't asked you for a review in a while, but it always helps for new people to help find the show. Now, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, or any other podcast app, just write an honest review and send me what you wrote and where you posted it. And once I can confirm that your review is public, I'll email you back with instructions on how to get all your gifts. If you have any questions, comments, want to open a future episode with where you're from, where you play, and the episode number, or you've submitted a review on your favorite podcast platform, or maybe you have a suggestion for an upcoming episode, please write to golfsmarterpodcast@gmail.com or click on the Hey Fred button when you visit golfsmarter.com.